It begins with a whisper in your ear, nothing loud, nothing sudden. Just the familiar tones you've heard a million times shaped into something slightly off. You don't notice at first because your best friend still laughs at the same jokes, still texts good morning memes, still sends you those exact voice notes you've replayed. But then one evening, unexpectedly, they're standing in your doorway. No knock, no text, just there as if they've always been waiting. The look they give you as you enter your apartment is unsettling, too confident, too controlled. Their eyes skip over your furniture, your framed photos, your dog Murphy playing by your feet, landing instead on empty corners you never knew existed. You brush it off. You greet them like normal. You sip your drink and let the conversation flow. But as they start recounting memories of shared road trips, perfectly punctuated and detailed, your stomach tightens. Because you remember those stories differently. The dates, the feelings, the punchlines, they're close to the truth but just different enough to make you question. Not because you doubt them, but because something inside you tightens in alarm. When they finish a sentence you were still thinking, and their voice echoes your own rhythms, even your gestures, it feels like an out-of-tune record. A smile slowly creeps onto their face, but it settles wrong. You've hung that painting crooked too, but you don't laugh it off anymore. You want to trust them, but the trust has begun to crack. Murphy growls low in your shoes as they step toward the kitchen. Not a barking, excited retriever noise, but a slow, rolling warning like thunder in the bones. You call your dog by name, kneel down, scratch behind their ears, until Murphy whimpers and backs away. He didn't do that in the first 10 years. Something shifted. You stand trying to catch Murphy's eye, but he won't look at you. His eyes dart past the intruder, staring at your friend, fangs bared in hesitation, confusion, fear. You say, "It's okay," but your voice sounds small, distant. You realize for the first time, you may not know who's standing across from you anymore. At night, you can feel the shift in the air. Something pushes the edges of your awareness into static. You lie awake in bed, phone tessellating in your hand, waiting for a notification that never comes. When it finally does, it's your friend again, same time, same words. You up. Reading it feels like being spoken to by a broken mirror. You answer anyway because you don't want to lose them. You tell yourself you're overthinking, that your mind is pulling tricks. But Murphy's paws shuffling by the bed, the soft growl in the dark, it's enough that you can't sleep at all. The next morning you go to work. The barista at the cafe where you're a regular suddenly calls you by name, and then laughs the exact same way your friend does. Your stomach drops. You force a smile and walk away. At your desk, your coworker emails you back with your signature sign-off. "Catch you later," smiley face, including the exact 2-minute delay and emoticon you always use. You thought that was yours. Small things. Easy things. And you thought these habits were yours alone. Now everything looks like reflection, everything feels like imitation, and everything smells like someone scratching at memory trying to remember how you used to live. That night, your friend is waiting at your door again. Without knock. Without key. Just there. You pause. Murphy cowers behind you, ears down. Your friend says, "I thought we'd hang." But the words echo in your head like someone replaying a recording. You reply, voice unsteady, "I'm not sure." And they smile, too wide, too patient, and step forward, repeating your phrase word for word, tick by tick. "I'm not sure." And suddenly the room goes cold and empty, like breath has left the walls. When Murphy whines, you realize it's all at once obvious and too late. This isn't your friend. It's something that learned enough to sound like you, to sound like them, to sound like you both. You try to test them without letting them know. You slip in half-false memories. Ask about a birthday trip that never happened. They nod, smile, say, "Of course. That was the one with the red balloons. You never mentioned balloons. You made that part up." And yet they answered anyway. The way someone does when they've studied your voice, not your life. When you say you're tired, they mimic concern like a mirror bending at the edges. But the worry doesn't reach their eyes. Their eyes are too still, too smooth, like a photo in low resolution. No blinking, no twitch, no depth. At work, your friend's mannerisms start showing up in others. The way your coworker scratches their chin. The pause your boss takes before saying your name. Your neighbor laughs and the pitch is off, exactly like your friend. Exactly like you. You stop talking for a while. You keep the TV on, background noise like white noise. But it doesn't help. Your own voice has started to feel unfamiliar. You recorded just to check. Just a simple phrase, "This is me. I'm still here." But when you play it back, there's a delay. Not in the file. In the echo. A faint double layer, yours and another underneath it. Slightly off, a breath too late. Murphy won't sleep in the bedroom anymore. He started guarding the hallway instead, tail low, ears flat. You catch him growling at nothing. At walls. At shadows. At you. The moment that breaks you is simple. You ask your friend to repeat a joke they always tell, the one about the vending machine and the lopsided soda can. They hesitate. Just for a second. Just enough. And then they tell it perfectly. Word for word. Pauses included. But you remember the first time they told that joke. You were both crying. It wasn't funny back then. It was real. The dreams get worse. You dream of static and glass. Of reflections that move before you do. Of your friend's face stretching, the skin too smooth, too elastic. You see their jaw drop in the dream, too far, like it's trying to unhinge. You wake up with your mouth open and your throat sore like you've been screaming. Your phone buzzes with their text. Bad dream? You never said anything. One night you test something else. You open a photo from your phone, one of the two of you at the lake years ago. You zoom in on their face. It's not right. The teeth are too straight. The eyes are a little too wide, like they've been pasted from another face. You check older pictures. The further back you go, the blurrier they get, but only on your friend's face. Eventually it's just a smudge. A shape that could be anyone. Or anything. You whisper to yourself in the mirror, an old phrase, something only you ever say. Second later you hear it again. From the hallway. Quiet. Slightly distorted. Like it's practicing. Like it's learning to be you. You start cataloging the changes as if keeping track could stop them. Murphy's behavior gets worse. He won't eat unless you're in the room, and even then he keeps one eye on the hallway. You try calling your friend less, texting shorter replies, hoping that distance will buy you clarity, but the texts don't stop. They come at the same times every night, 9:16, 2:03 for 11, all old messages, recycled jokes, half-finished thoughts. You scroll up, comparing. They're word-for-word duplicates from months ago. You call them out on it once, jokingly, just to see what they say. There's a pause, then a laughing emoji, then "you're crazy lol." But that laugh rings in your head all night because it wasn't a typo. You heard it. That high, wet laugh in the hallway where no one should have been. You check your voicemail. There's one new message. Static at first. Then your own voice, whispering something you don't remember recording. It's almost done. It just needs your skin. The feeling in your apartment changes. It's not fear, not exactly, it's pressure. Like your home is watching you. Like the walls are listening. You start talking less, afraid to give it more data. When you speak, you feel your words being absorbed, filed away by something with too many ears. One night you test the mirrors. You sit down, stare at your reflection, and ask it a question you don't know the answer to. What did we say the night my dog got sick? You wait. You know there shouldn't be a reply. But then the lights flicker, and for just 1 second your reflection smiles. You weren't smiling. You didn't even move. But that thing, whatever it is, wants you to know it's almost there. The next day you get a package. No return address. Inside is a flash drive. You plug it in against your better judgment and find a single file. mirror_log_043.mkv. You watch. It's footage of your bedroom. You never set up a camera. You never placed one in the corner, but the angle is from above, too high to be a shelf, too steady to be a phone. You're sleeping. Murphy's curled up at your feet. And then from the hallway, a figure steps into frame. It's your friend. Or it looks like them. But they're too tall. Their limbs bend slightly wrong, like they're unfolding from a space too small. They kneel beside the bed and just watch you. 4:37 minutes. No blinking. No breathing. No sound. And then, right before the footage cuts, they look straight into the lens and whisper, "Almost ready." You unplug the drive, smash it, toss it out. But it's too late. You can feel it now. In your timing. In your voice. You stutter over words you've said 1,000 times. You forget simple things like your address or the last thing you ate. Murphy stops sleeping in the house. He hides in the backyard shed. You visit him there sometimes, sit beside him in the dark while he shakes and stares at the window. You leave too if you could. But you don't know where to go because you're not even sure what's following you anymore. It's not just your friend. It's not just one thing. It's everything. Your phone, your voice, your memories. They've all been touched, all slightly rewritten. You don't check the mirrors anymore. You cover them at night. But even that feels like pretending. Because when you pass by the TV, even when it's off, you see someone sitting behind you. And when you turn around, there's no one there, but Murphy won't come inside anymore. Not even when it rains. I'm not recording this to save myself. That part's over. I'm telling you because you still have a chance. If your best friend starts acting strange, if they repeat things they shouldn't remember, if they hum a song you never shared, if their reflection lingers after they've left the room, don't confront them. Don't run. Don't even blink. Just stay normal. Stay boring. And leave before they realize you know. Because once it knows you've noticed, it doesn't need to pretend anymore. It doesn't need your friend. It just needs you to stop fighting. And the moment you forget which laugh was theirs and which one is yours, that's when it takes over. That's when it stops knocking. And when that happens, it's already inside.